Alright guys, this one's a 2004 Tahoe. We're going to put a fuel pump in it. I need to check the wiring. Make sure none of the wiring is a problem why the fuel pump's not running. I know that it's not running because you turn the key on, and you don't hear it running. So I'm sure it's a fuel pump. But we'll check the wire and make sure. I'll show you how to replace it. First thing we're going to do is remove these two hoses right here. The filler, and that's a vent. Little tip for you on the hoses. You can take a pick like this, a big one. They stick. So you get it in behind the hose. Be careful not to tear it up. And slip it around there, the whole thing. Slip it around run this thing around the whole hose. And then you can just pull it right off. So I have the transmission jack here. Most of you will have to use a floor jack if you don't have lift and stuff. I'm going to raise it up and hold it. We're going to take off the two straps holding the tank on. Lower it down real slow. There's a few more lines to take off. But I'll be able to see them easier if I can get the tank down a little bit. Customer did say this is full of fuel, so might not be too much fun. Two straps, one in the front. And one in the back. Alright, let me show you what's going on here, guys. Failed attempt here, the first attempt. This gas tank right here is wedged under this right here. So the bottom has to tilt out first. You got to lean the bottom out first. It's got to come down back here first, way on down past the axle. And this fuel tank is completely full, guys. I mean, all the way to the very top. So I've made a mess here. Let me show you my mess. Fuel's gone everywhere, including down my armpit, like it always does. I've got these hoses off, and there's screens blocking the, where the hoses go, so people, I guess, don't steal it and stuff. All you got to do, guys, is pop this screen off. It comes right off. See that? And then I'm going to stick a hose in it and siphon some of this gas out, guys. That's where we're at. Let me get it siphoned out and then we'll lower it down. And I'm not going to show you how to siphon gas and steal it out of somebody's vehicle or nothing like that. And just a friendly reminder, you don't sniff gas, you don't huff gas, you don't snort gas. That's what makes you into an idiot, so don't do any of that. And again, don't steal gas from old people. That's just not right. And if you huff and sniff and snort gas, that's what you'll end up doing. And then you are not a model citizen anymore. So I managed to get about 12 gallons of petrol out of this rail. We're going to try it again, guys. I expect still for some to spill out because of the angle the tank's got to be took out at. But we're going to do the best we can and get this thing out of here. It's best to drain it all out if you can, but I don't have any more containers. I can feel the wires getting tight up there, guys. I need to disconnect those. Best I can do is after I get this tank out, guys, I'll show you where everything connected under there.
Strong and stable. Strong and stable. Strong and stable. Strong and stable. Strong.
That was a catastrophe. As you can see, there's a big mess just everywhere here. What you really need to do, guys, is just drain the gas tank out completely, where you can handle it a lot easier. Because these have to tilt so much to get them out, that's the only way really to do it right. These wires will have to be repaired. No big deal. I'll get that straightened up. A lot of times a new fuel pump comes with a new connector and wires anyways. Right there. And I already had the fuel lines disconnected, guys, and they were in the front right here. They just snap on. Here it is. You just squeeze this together and they slide off. Alright, next step. I'm going to blow this all off of here. It's full of dirt. You don't want that falling down in your fuel tank. You got to put your mask on before you do it. It's important to clean that up, guys. You don't want dirt falling down in there. This metal ring is rusted really bad. I'll show it to you. Okay, so these connectors, it's like I told you. You just You just push them in, squeeze this together, and it'll just slide out. Same with this one. Push this in first, squeeze these two together, slides right out. This ring is rusted really bad, guys. I don't know if you can see this. This needs to be pried back before we do it. And this ring needs to spin. There's a little plastic thing here. I hope you can see it, but it's got to be pried out before you can turn this. And it's out right now, and the rust is actually holding it, so I'm going to take advantage of that. This is an aluminum, piece of aluminum. You don't want to make sparks, guys, and blow yourselves up. A lot of times, people use brass punches, I think. I don't have one. And this ring is really rusted. It's just falling apart. So it's going to be difficult to get off of there. Here's a chisel. I don't recommend doing this, because it'll make sparks and you guys will end up killed. And that ain't cool. This thing is rusted bad, guys. This reminds me of New York. It's so bad. We don't have stuff rusted up this bad around here in Kentucky. I'd say this truck came from a northern state. This ring is replaceable. The top of this tank, I don't think is. I don't know what we're going to do, fellers. Let's get it apart. Make a decision then. And there's a fuel pump. Usually, guys, this is one of the easiest jobs I do, but this is all rusted and really kind of rough to deal with. Let's get it out. Just to check the wiring, and you need to check that before you take the fuel pump out. I'm just confident that this pump is bad, so I'm not too worried about it. These Chevrolets have 4 different wires, guys, and of course it should have the connector on it, but we saw what happened there anyways. 2 of these wires are smaller. This one's purple and black. That goes to the sending unit. Always remember, guys, fuel pump wires are going to be thicker because they take more current. This is a gray wire, and it's twice as thick probably as these thinner wires. This is a black wire right here, which is the ground. So I hooked a wire up to here and a wire up to here. That goes to this light bulb right here because I can't find my test light. It'll work just the same as a test light, guys. Just put one side to ground and one side to power. Now all I need to do is turn the key on and see if it lights up. Key on, and there you go. Key off. What's nice about the headlight, guys, is I'm up here in the vehicle and I can see that it's working. That, again, tells you that all your wiring's good to your fuel pump, guys. So you have a bad fuel pump. Light didn't come on, you need to be checking your wiring. We need to go get a fuel pump, and I believe a gas tank, because it was so rusted on the top. I don't believe the lock ring's gonna work anymore. So headed to the salvage yard now. Yeah, the condition of the fuel tank was so bad, guys. There's teeth there on the top. I don't know what you call them. Top of the fuel tank, where that metal ring goes, and they were just eat up with rust, guys, and it just doesn't seem safe to me to use that fuel tank. I'm going to a good friend of mine's who owns a salvage yard, and he'll give us a good deal on a good fuel tank, a used one, and that's what we're going to use, and we're going to get a new fuel pump. It's the next day. I got all my parts together. This tank came from the salvage yard. Like I said, all these are real solid. You'll see a closer up picture of it when we put the fuel pump in. We got the fuel pump. The new ring sold separate from the fuel pump. A fuel filter, I always put one on when we change the fuel pump. And it came with a connector and a new seal. Like I said, the connector's on there and the wires will put that new one on. Ring's on. The seal's on right here on your pump. There's a tab on the pump you have to line up. It's right there. Lines up right there. These come on your you have to take these off your old fuel pump on this one. They're two different sizes. And you can buy new ones, guys. And sometimes fuel pumps, new fuel pumps, come with them. But this one did not. And there you go. So it comes with butt connectors, but I just can't use them, guys. I'd rather solder it. I think it's a better joint. Because there's gas around, you don't want to use a lighter on heat shrink. I don't have a heat gun, so you can heat your soldering gun up here and just run alongside the heat shrink, and it'll shrink it, and you don't have to worry about blowing yourself up and stuff like that. Like I said, that's a good way to do it right there, guys. Now I'm going to turn the camera off and take my lighter and heat the rest of them up. And just to save you some time, the only lines, guys, that had to be took off was the two main fuel lines. One small line on the canister, right here. The smallest line on the charcoal canister had to be took off. And then your fill line and your vent line. The vent valve hose is connected to the vehicle, not to the top of the fuel tank. Some are connected to the top of the fuel tank, but not this one. 04 to 09 Tahoe is what this is. And you don't need to remove the vent valve hose, that big one. Before you tighten it, make sure there's no wires or hoses crunched up under there where they don't belong. I've already checked it. Always change the fuel filter, guys. What happens is, if this filter is all stopped up, it causes the pump to have to push against that pressure a lot harder, and that's what'll ruin your pump. Always check this O-ring right here. This one's good. I can see it's good. If you have to replace it, they're made for fuel. You have to get one that's made to withstand gasoline. Don't just put any O-ring on there. It'll leak. Let me tighten this up. We'll fill it with fuel and raise it up and check it for leaks, guys. Make sure nothing's leaking. Just a quick safety tip before we start this thing up, guys. Don't use this kind of light when you're working on fuel tanks and stuff. If the bulb breaks, it'll create a big arc and spark and you'll blow yourselves up. You need to use some other kind of light that's safe. I can't afford to lose any viewers or potential money donors, guys. That's why I'm telling you this. I always cycle the key. I can hear the pump running. I do it 2 or 3 times. That'll just prime it, guys, so that you don't have to keep cranking on it forever. There's 3 times. There we go. Another one on the road. So again, guys, just a quick review. We don't snort gasoline. We don't snip gasoline. We don't shoot it up into our arms, you know. At the end of the day, it's always good to have a ice cold, refreshing, crisp, delicious Budweiser beer. And I always endorse Anheuser-Busch, especially Budweiser. If you're an idiot, don't drink any beers. And again, nobody likes an idiot. Guys, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, and thanks for watching.